All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, if you've been watching, the results are in. Benjamin Netanyahu has declared victory. And as we just heard from Danny Ayalan on this show, he is in the driver's seat. Let's go now to our friend Caroline Glick, senior contributing editor of the Jerusalem Post and author of The Israeli Solution, a one-state plan for peace in the Middle East. Caroline, welcome. And of course, in the closing days leading up to today, Benjamin Netanyahu said as much. He could have, just given the title of your book. He said there will be no two-state solution if he's a prime minister again, and it looks like we're headed in that direction, right?
Well, yes, he was just reelected. There is no option for the Labour Party, the main opposition party that's running against Likud, Netanyahu's party, to form a government, and Netanyahu does have the ability to do so, and therefore he was just reelected under our very strange system of multi-party system and proportional representation. He was just reelected, yes.
Right, it's a lot different than here. How surprised, I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised, obviously, as I'm sure you are, but how surprising was it? What kind of an upset is this, considering where the polls showed him just, a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
So the main difference between what we're seeing in results, and what was being seen last Wednesday when the final polls, or last Thursday when the final polls were put out before the poll itself today, is that the Likud, Netanyahu just surmounted any expectation of him. The Likud was polling 21 seats last Wednesday or last Thursday, and it now, according to the exit polls, is 27 or 28 seats, which is really quite an extraordinary comeback, and nobody expected them to rise this high. The most optimistic projections were saying maybe they'd get up to 24, 25. This is out of 120 total seats in the Knesset. And so now the exit polls are showing them at 27 or 28 seats, and this is really an extraordinary achievement. I would say an extraordinary personal achievement by Prime Minister Netanyahu, who really has spent the last 48 hours or so just on television, on the radio, speaking to anybody, speaking everywhere, all the time. It's an extraordinary achievement on his part.
How much do you believe it was also a vote against, the opposition, Herzog, who basically said, and this goes against the overwhelming majority of Israelis, as you and I have talked about, I trust Barack Obama to make a good deal on Iran for Israel. And by the way, let's divide Jerusalem, and let's reopen the talks with the Palestinians. I mean, to me, I don't understand how anybody could vote for that guy, but how much do you think that played into it?
Well, I'm not even sure how much of it was a personal rebuke or actually not a substantive rebuke against Bougie Herzog, because this election was remarkable for the lack of substance in it. What we've seen is that we have Labor and the other leftist parties, and then with an extraordinary amount of help from outside groups funded by foreigners and foreign governments, that they were pushing a straight hate campaign against Netanyahu. He was demonized in a way that we haven't seen, and we've seen a lot of dirty, negative campaigns in Israeli electoral history, but we've never seen a campaign quite like this, which is a campaign of pure hatred against Netanyahu. And so I think that more than a rejection of Herzog's policies, which were barely even discussed in this election, thanks to a media that was simply in the bag pushing and really just an integral part of the Labour Party's campaign against Likud and Netanyahu, what we saw was a pushback by the public against the demonization of a prime minister by the left.
And where does the relation, we got a minute, which isn't fair, but where does the relationship between the U.S. and Israel go from here, specifically Obama and Netanyahu?
Well, I think that we can expect to see very bad relations between the White House and Israel over the next 2 years, and I think that the goal of Netanyahu at this point is going to be parrying massive American pressure to make concessions to the Palestinians on the one hand, and to accept the deal that he's negotiating with Iran, which is paving the way for Iran to become a nuclear power.
Right, yep. All right, Caroline, good to talk to you. Thanks for staying up late. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
My pleasure. Caroline Glick, ladies and gentlemen. And it's good news. It's good news for anybody who loves Israel. It's good news for anybody who doesn't trust Iran. And it's good news for anybody who doesn't trust Palestinians and their rockets. I mean, what else could I say? Or terrorists, for that matter. Sheriff David Clark of Milwaukee comes next. Don't go away.